And look at this. Here's one of those demonstrations. If you recall, we just laid out the importance of making sure that you carry out these demonstrations yourself. And this is not any different. We're going to be looking at how we can book the exam. So this is really important, just to navigate the website and make sure you understand everything about the exam. The more you're prepared up front, then of course, the easier it's going to be when you actually come to booking it and understanding what options are available. It's also going to set your mind at ease, understanding a little bit more about what actually CompTIA say are in the exam. So we're going to look at creating a CompTIA account. If you've previously taken any CompTIA exams, you're probably going to have an account and you're going to be able to use that. So of course, then we can make sure that you can log in. We can view the exam objectives. We can look at the different options for the exam. Like many exams now, they can be taken online, so online proctored, or if it's easier for you, taking it at a testing centre. A lot just depends on what you have around and close to you. So let's go through and find our browser and point it to comptia.org. So we're back on our browser and we're at www.comptia.org. Now we've seen the homepage before, but we want to concentrate a little bit more on certifications. So I'm moving across to certifications. My mouse is over this at the moment. And we're going to drop down and we can see then that we've got Linux Plus. It's this that we're going to be investigating. As I go through then and click on the certification for Linux Plus, we can see then that they give you 2 exam codes. Currently, there are 2 exams that are available. There's XKO004. This was released in 2019, and this was the first CompTIA Linux Plus exam that was purely CompTIA. Again, it contains performance elements, much like the current exam. The current exam, which was launched mid-July 2022, XKO005. That's the one that contains much more on DevOps. And I think you're going to find the DevOps side of things really interesting if you haven't been involved in it before. As we go through and just scroll down a little bit, we can see that the new Linux Plus XKO005 is available from July the 12th. When we look at the exam details, we can see the 2 exam codes, when they were released. When we take a look at the descriptions, we're concentrating here on 005. So this is our new version of CompTIA Linux Plus, covering an evolving job role that focuses much more on how Linux powers everything within our cloud. So we're looking at cutting-edge technologies that help us orchestrate and automate our environment. So working on coding, containers, infrastructure. So not just Linux, but it's everything that Linux really touches. We're going to have 90 questions. Those questions are multiple choice and performance-based. Remember what we say about performance-based? All they mean by that is rather than asking you what file it is, you're going to have to then go through and edit that file. As an example. The passing score, they don't list at the moment. But when we take a look at your experience, they're suggesting that it would help if we've got 12-month hands-on experience working with Linux servers or a junior role in support, or perhaps working in cloud or DevOps. Very much they are all related to working with Linux. Obviously, other certifications from CompTIA might help you, A+, Network Plus, Server Plus, because they all cover a little bit of this and they build up your foundation knowledge. At the moment, it's only available in English, and the retirement is likely to be 3 years after the launch date. We can see the previous exam will be then expiring or retiring in 2023. Now, the testing providers is done by Pearson VUE, and it can be done through your traditional testing centres, but we also have online proctoring. With online proctoring, you can actually then do it from your workstation at home, but you do have to make sure that you can keep your desk and work surface very clean and tidy. Where I work from, I would say it's clean and tidy, but I have a lot of technology around me for creating and managing these courses. And to me, it's actually quite difficult to take everything out of my computer room, which is my recording studio as well, and set it up for an exam environment. So for me, it's easier if I test it at a testing center rather than in my home environment. But they really just need you to have a webcam, a laptop or a desktop, but no other tech around. When we take a look at booking the exam, we can buy an exam voucher. But if I go through and take a look at Pearson VUE here, going into the testing centers, we can see then the first thing to do is create a CompTIA account. Then we can schedule the exam. Now, I already have a CompTIA account, so let's go through to schedule the exam. We have to put in the email address. I'm quite happy to put in my email address here. I want you to be able to do as well as you can inside of the exam environment. There are different ways that you can contact me, but one of them most certainly is through email. But if I go through then and put Andrew Mallett 90 at gmail.com, and then the password, and no, I'm not going to tell you the password. Try and get the password right. If you've previously had an account and maybe you've forgotten your password, well, obviously you can go through the stages of resetting your password. I'm going to go through then and sign in. We don't need to save it. So we see the name, the preferred name. Once we've got everything correct here, I'm just going to quickly scroll to the bottom. We can go through and save any updates. It's really just putting in your contact information. As we go through, we look or choose the exam we want. So Linux Plus. At the moment, they're only listing 004. We're actually just before the exam has been released. But if we go through and say, click on this, obviously this isn't the exam you'd be wanting to taking. You'll probably want the most recent exam. And then we can choose at a test center or online at your own home or office. I'll go through and choose then a test center. We need photo ID. Make sure we know where the testing center is so we can confidently get there at the time, but they also show you a short video of what to expect when you arrive. The personal items, again, we can't take things like smartwatches or smartphones into the exam. And that would also apply to glasses. You can take glasses in the exam, but obviously not smart glasses. We can go through then on next. I'm going to take it in English. Probably more of a challenge taking it in Japanese, so let's stick with English. Our policies. Of course, read those very carefully. And then it shows exam centres that are close to me. We can go through and click that and then choose a date and time. For the moment, I'm just going to leave this. But hopefully that's given you a good idea of what to expect in the exam and how to book the exam. But let's go through and just summarize what we've looked at.